youngsters to participate. The meeting was attended by Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Finance and Economic Planning, Ramadan Gobi, among other senior government officials. Meanwhile, President Yoweri Museveni has urged the young generation to reflect on the Ugandan history in order to have a current generational appreciation. President Museveni was presiding over the National History Exhibition for the 60th Independence celebrations. Take a watch.
Ni MTN Kabode Super as you pay mpola for this smartphone. Make calls, update your WhatsApp status, watch YouTube, and Google anything under the sun with 2 GB worth of data every month for 7 months. Simply make a small deposit of 99k and pay the balance mpola. You can pay in daily, weekly, or even monthly installments while you enjoy your new phone. So what are you doing today? Visit any MTN shop near you and get the MTN Kabode Super easy.
Forget last season. Forget the oohs and ahs. Forget every moment that stole the show. Because the real show is here on GoTV. It's the new season. It's action-packed and it's going to be non-stop football. With over 1,000 games from more than 7 leagues and cup competitions plus a World Cup. Make sure you get the best seat in the house this new football season. Get a GoCoder with 1 month of GoTV value for only 25,000 Uganda shillings and enjoy non-stop football. GoTV Uganda. Love it.
Quatesimo! Get the 4G smartphone of your dreams today and pay as you use. Choose from the Tecno Pop 5 Pro, Tecno Pova Neo, Samsung A03 Core or Nokia C10 and pay conveniently in daily, weekly and monthly installments for a period of a year using Airtel Money. You will also enjoy free 3GB and 100% bonus data on weekly and monthly bundles every month for 3 months. Visit any D-Lite shop or select Airtel Money branches countrywide and get one today. Terms and conditions apply. Airtel, the smartphone network.
And we do apologize for that technical glitch, but now our technicians have worked around it. And let's continue with our news, and we'll go back to that other story that we had earlier on introduced, where President Yoweri Museveni has urged the young generation to reflect on the Ugandan history in order to have a current generational appreciation. Mr. Museveni was presiding over the National History Exhibition for the 60th Independence celebrations. Take a watch.
Now, as you hear, the elders there were telling you aspects of the life of Uganda. And as you heard, it was a mixed story. There was a lot of anticipation and jubilation, but as Dr. Arika pointed out, there were also some simmering problems because mainly of what the NRM later came to challenge has a wrong ideology of tribes, of religion, and so on. That's how eventually we got into all sorts of problems. And as you heard, many of the panelists here lived in exile. You had Bishop Ochoa telling you how he lived in the Congo, how Dr. Rika ran to Kenya. Mama Miria, I was with her in Tanzania and later in Zambia. So, and you had the professionals like Dr. Olweny, how he spent a lot of time working outside. You heard him, what he was working in Australia, in those places, because the situation here was not good. So it's good that you had Dr. Alika talking of people without shoes on Kampala Road. You'd find people walking without shoes. You had Bishop Ochoa telling you that there was an unfair division of labor where Uganda was to produce cash crops and the North was to produce soldiers for the colonial army. Those reflections are important for you, the young people, to really pick up properly. Then you heard how there was not a single secondary school in the North. And I know this because even in my time, by the time I came to S1, Ntare, 1961, there were only about 6 A-level schools in the whole of Uganda. You had about, Professor Olweny was talking about it, he was talked, but by 61, there was Bodo, Kisubi, Ntare. I did not know about the Indian school he talked about in Mbale.
The government of Uganda has lifted the ban on mining activities for Rwenzori rare minerals in Busoga sub-region. In May this year, the Prime Minister, Robert Nabanja, ordered the cessation of the activities of the company to extract rare earth minerals in the country. During a meeting chaired by Nabanja at her office, it was resolved that the ban on activities of Rwenzori rare minerals be lifted so that they can go on with mining.
That the stakeholders meeting resolved on a number of issues aimed at protecting the project affected persons and also ensure economic value of the mining project.
Number one, the ban that had been instituted on rare earths or Rwenzori has been lifted with effect from that NEMA goes on ground, and that should be done by the ED NEMA, so that the environmental impact assessment is done. Then number four, we have also agreed to review the memorandum of understanding between Rwenzori rare metal and the landowners.
Peter Lokeris, Minister of State for Minerals, says that this project has the potential to improve the livelihoods of the people of Busoga.
Development is planned to start in 2023, next year. with minor production expected. Potential Ugandan contractors, subsidy providers have been requested to submit proposals in various fields. And
we are thinking of giving them compensating. Could titling their lands before they are taken actually be a provision within the project?
As for Lumumba, the minister in charge general duties in the Prime Minister's office, says that local content should be prioritized in the implementation of this project.
When it comes to this, local content, Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Energy, these are issues that we must build capacity and strengthen at whatever level, even LC1 level to the national level.
Agreed that the issue about valuation, we need to have the land's chief government valuer to go and start sensitizing our people about this valuation process.
Abdul Katuntu, one of the members of parliament from Busoga, says that they had rejected the project because the investors had not involved the local leaders and the government was not seen in the process.
When we first raised the objection, government was missing. Because what the investor was doing was running around with our people.
These people for Rwenzori were first storming the ground minus our consent, but later on they had to bring us on board because they went and drew maps. They involved the local people minus us knowing.
Warren Tregutha, the Chief Executive Officer of Rwenzori Rare Minerals, says that they are happy that the government has lifted the ban on the activities.
From the Ugandan government has been spectacular. All the parties have come to an agreement and an understanding on the way forward, and it's nice that a clear set of resolutions has been passed and they're all achievable and pragmatic.
Rwenzori Rare Metals RRM Limited is a private Ugandan company developing the Makutu Rare Earths project across the districts of Bugweri, Bujiri and Mayuge. I'm Nafka Farida reporting.
Now, the United States Agency for International Development has supported the Ministry of Health with the consignment of infection control materials to help in curbing the spread of the Ebola virus disease. Minister for Health, Dr. Jane Ruth Acheng, received the consignment from the USAID Mission Director, Richard Nelson, at the Ministry of Health headquarters and commended USAID for supporting Uganda's health sector. We have more in this story.
The Ebola virus disease that was first declared in Mubende district on the 20th of last month has now spread to other 4 districts: Chegegwa, Bunyangabu, Kasanda and Kagadi. As of 4th October 2022, there are 43 confirmed cases of Ebola virus disease and 10 deaths, including 4 health workers, with the latest being an anesthetic officer aged 58 who passed on at Fort Portal Hospital.
There were 6 patients in the Ebola treatment unit. Unfortunately, on a sad note, we lost one of the patients. Mrs. Margaret Namisubi, who was the anesthetic officer working in Mubende Regional Referral Hospital. She died this morning at around 4:30 a.m.
bringing the total number of health workers who have succumbed to 4. Very painful. Usually in a war, at the front line, as somebody said, they are usually casualties. But it is important that we protect the health workers. It is also important for health workers to understand that in their normal day-to-day routine work, they need to protect themselves, because we don't know what a patient will come with. So it is pertinent that they put on their gloves, keep their masks on, use aprons.
Health development partners are now supporting Uganda to curb the spread of Ebola virus disease, and the United States Agency for International Development, USAID, has donated assorted materials for infection control.
That consists of equipment and supplies that are sufficient to take care of a number of patients over a 10-day period. to be able to help them get through that initial critical stage. This is symbolic. It's not about this kit. This kit is a tiny, tiny piece of the support we're trying to provide to this effort for the Ministry of Health. And the United States government is active in a number of different areas within the response under the direction of the Ministry of Health so that we can all together resolve this crisis as quickly as possible.
So this kit that we have received this morning will go a long way. As you have heard, this kit can go on for 10 days. When you look at it, it looks small, but there are many, many, many wares in there for the health workers to put on and enter into the isolation facilities. The health workers currently taking care of Ebola confirmed cases are heroes, because not many people want to go into the isolation facility, and we deeply want to appreciate them.
The World Health Organization commended USAID for extending assistance to Uganda and appealed to the Ministry of Health to ensure that those who get infected with Ebola get medical attention faster.
And that process also involves protecting the health workers, which would be providing that kind of services. Generally, what the Ministry of Health, in collaboration with partners and WHO, tries to make sure is that whenever we have Ebola or similar disease like Marburg, we deploy one of these to the referral hospital within less than 24 hours, so that even the first case gets all the benefit of care, as well as the health workers which are providing the services are well protected.
Last week, the ministry announced a 3-month Ebola response plan at $18 million, which is approximately 65 billion Ugandan shillings. I'm Nafka Farida and Adiana Kuti.
Now let's go back to our first and lead story, where the President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni today met the Badia Group led by the Chairman Board of Directors, Dr. Fahad Abluha Al-Dosari at Nakaseru State Lodge. The group announced a $2 million grant for the prevention of Ebola outbreak in the country. The Badia is a financial institution owned by 18 Arab countries who are members of the League of Arab States, which signed its establishment agreement on the 18th of February 1974. The bank is an independent international institution with an objective of strengthening economic, financial and technical cooperation between the Arab and African regions, and for the embodiment of Arab-African solidarity on foundations of equality and friendship, among other objectives. President Museveni welcomed the Badia team and thanked them for partnering with Uganda in implementing development projects. He highlighted areas such as the completion of oil roads, funding of the oil pipeline, refinery, commercial agriculture and manufacturing industries as priority areas. The chairman, Badia, disclosed that the bank has been supporting a number of projects through their credit line in Uganda Development Bank, UDB, such as Uganda Heart Institute, rehabilitation of roads, building of bridges in northern Uganda, irrigation schemes, roads, rural electrification, among other projects. The group also agreed with the government of Uganda to remove all the difficult clauses in the financing agreement in order that the procurement processes are more flexible to allow local investors to participate. The meeting was attended by the Permanent Secretary, Minister of Finance and Economic Planning, Ramadan Gobi, among other senior government officials.
Producing food for the family and not bothering with the money. So sector number one is to make sure that all the families get involved. If they have land, they get involved in food security and in commercial agriculture. Small scale or big scale, whatever. So that's one sector that should get support, and that's why you are therefore right when you support the PDM, because the PDM are mandated for that. Then the second sector is industries, manufacturing. Again, the smaller scale you are talking about, some of them are in manufacturing. So it's good you support that. And then the third sector is services. Services like hotels, like transport, like entertainment. There, if you don't have money for that, we can get our own money. Then the fourth one is ICT. So I think the sectors you should look at are the number one, commercial agriculture, and number two, manufacturing.
President Yoweri Museveni ending that report there. Now, President Yoweri Museveni has written to Kenyans expressing remorsefulness over tweets that have been doing rounds on social media, and of course that is on General Muhoozi's Twitter handle. Now, this one page later is on President Yoweri Museveni's Twitter handle.
I ask our Kenyan brothers and sisters to forgive us for tweets sent by General Muhoozi, former commander of land forces here, regarding the election matters in that great country. It is not correct for public officers, be they civilian or military, to comment or interfere in any way in the internal affairs of brother countries. The only available legitimate forum is the peer review mechanism of the African Union or confidential interactions among us or EAC and AU fora, not public comments. Why then promote him to full general after these comments? This is because this mistake is one aspect where he has acted negatively as a public officer. There are, however, many other positive contributions the general has made and can still make. This is a time-tested formula. Discourage the negative and encourage the positive. Very sorry, ndugu zetu wa Kenya. Also sorry to the Ugandans who could have been annoyed by one of their officials meddling in the affairs of brother Kenya. I know for a fact that General Muhoozi is a passionate Pan-Africanist. However, the correct method for Pan-Africanists is confidential interactions or using the available fora, for example, EAC and AU, especially if you are a public officer. I have conveyed all those views confidentially to His Excellency Ruto, the President of Kenya. Signed by President Yoweri Museveni.
And that is the tweet that President Yoweri Museveni sent, and that was on his official Twitter handle. Let's shift our attention now. We look at one of the big events of the day, and that is the International Teachers' Day. And government and other education management stakeholders have been asked to ensure that teachers are well empowered, adequately recruited and motivated. Now, this call has been made by members of Uganda Professional Science Teachers while commemorating the World Teachers' Day in Kampala. Sudat Kaye gives us more.
Imparting knowledge to students, setting up situations for children to learn effectively, and mentoring students are some of the roles of teachers. This therefore calls for quality transformative education services, which are key in national development. The chairperson, Uganda Professional Science Teachers, Vincent Elong, says government must invest in the education sector.
We do apologize for the glitch in sound in that just concluded story, but let's continue and still on issues related to teachers. And teachers have been called upon to lead the advocacy for peace and prevention of violence in the education institutions. During the symposium to mark the Teachers' Day, the Director of Basic Education, Ismail Mulindwa, noted that teachers can still take the lead in championing peace without apportioning blame. Mulindwa represented the Permanent Secretary at the commemoration of Teachers' Day in Kampala.
Strikes and demonstrations have of recent become synonymous with many education institutions, both at lower and higher levels of learning. Some of the recent acts of violence include the strike in Makerere University during the Gilda elections that saw the death of one student from UCU, and the deadly strikes in Ombachi Secondary School, among others.
Most of the private schools have not emphasized so much of building a culture that deters violation, deters the demonstration.
Perhaps there is a poster of the schools and regulations, so in case any adjustments have to be made, this student knows what's going on, or perhaps in case they read through it, they are able to know, if I do this, ABCD could happen.
This has been attributed to several factors, including lack of patriotism by learners, rigidity of some laws in many schools, especially public institutions, code of conduct by some teachers, and limited room for engagement and participation of learners.
There is flexibility in the private schools, because perhaps maybe they would like to protect the infrastructure from being destroyed. But the government side, this side, they don't care because the infrastructure is not what they are.
When teachers are mistreated, that does not go well with them. And therefore, in so doing, even in transacting their business, they may not do the best to the students, and that alone can spark the violence.
Not limited to perception by learners and teachers, mental illness and extremism in some institutions.
How do we transform education? And one of the tracks is addressing the issue of the teachers, because you cannot transform the teaching profession if you have not transformed the thinking of a teacher.
In commemoration of the Teachers' Day under the theme Peace, Education and Prevention of Violence in Education Institutions, teachers have been tasked to be the drivers of transformation for peace restoration.
So the many strikes we have had, even at national level, is because somebody has failed to do his or her part.
They've been challenged to desist from apportioning blame, but rather work towards creation of a safe and free learning and teaching environment.
Stakeholders are also urged to observe professional responsibility, which includes refraining from being perpetrators of violence against children.
Nonetheless, a safe and free learning environment that will restrain learners from engaging in acts of violence is an obligation of teachers, learners, and parents. Susan Naung and Andrew Sebira reporting for UBC TV.
34 minutes after 8, we'll now take a very short break and return with much more. Do stay with us.
At Timex Nutrition Center, we advise you on the right foods to eat, exercise profile to adopt, and lifestyle strategies which are compatible to your blood group and genotype. This empowers your body to prevent and treat many diseases like diabetes, blood pressure, arthritis, ulcers, obesity, and many others. For more information, find us at our head office in Kampala on Nassa Road, Conrad Plaza, 2nd floor, or call 0758 819 952 or 0778 288 361. We also have other branches in Bara and Jinja.
Effects of climate change are glaring. We have floods, landslides, drought, food insecurity. His Excellency the President has been very passionate about this, and he has explained the effect of destroying our natural resources, especially the wetlands, and cutting the forests. As Cabinet, as government, we have approved a 10 years restoration program. We are going to provide alternative sources of livelihood, and the call is that people should leave the wetlands And we have started from today evicting people from Rukidi wetlands, and we are going to roll out the whole country. Our prayer is that those who have not yet been reached, please live peacefully. We are going to provide alternative source of livelihood as a government. Those who are still engaged in manufacturing and selling the plastic, especially the illegal non-buveras, we are going to close onto them. They are also a menace to our country. We look forward very soon having sodas back in the breakable bottles rather than the plastics which are being thrown all over to litter. I want to call upon Ugandans, let's conserve and let's use sustainably our natural resources. I thank you.
This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Water and Environment, Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries, Uganda National Meteorological Authority, with support from Government of Uganda, Green Climate Fund, and the United Nations Development Program.
Meet Professor Petero. He knows something every hustler in UG is gonna love.
Oh, see. You see, I was just trying to get the documents to register for Airtel Money.
You don't need the documents. You just say for register. Yes, become a safer and more efficient cash-free business today. Easy.
No mixing your business money with your Kameza money. No, that's efficient.
Airtel Money. Instant, secure, borderless.
It, back it, share it. The 4G Wakanet MiFi. Pocket it, use it, enjoy it. Visit any MTN service center or Banana Phone World outlets. Get it at 75k. The MTN 4G Pocket MiFi is it.
The Presidential CEO Forum, in conjunction with the Office of the Prime Minister, is hosting the African Continental Free Trade Area Private Sector CEO Forum in Uganda on Thursday, the 6th of October 2022 at Serena Kampala Hotel from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. The chief guest and keynote speaker will be His Excellency Wemkele Kabeswe Mene, the Secretary General of the African Continental Free Trade Area. For more information, visit www.pcf.go.ug or call 0393 249 530.
Palliative care is holistic care given to persons suffering due to severe illness to improve their quality of life and their families. The World Hospice and Palliative Care Day is commemorated annually to raise a unified voice to the need to reduce health-related suffering. Join us for the National Palliative Care Walk at Mulago Hospital Playground on Saturday, 8th October 2022, starting at 7 a.m. For details, contact toll-free 0800 399 100. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Health together with the Palliative Care Association of Uganda with support from National Medical Stores.
Get connected today with the My Airtel 4G smartphone, the most affordable smartphone in Uganda. You get to enjoy free 1 GB for the next 11 months. My Airtel 4G smartphone, your best value for money. Visit the nearest Airtel outlet today and get one at only 250,000 Uganda shillings. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Welcome back from that break, and this is News Tonight here on UBC TV. My name is Rukidi Edward Kiijjanangoma, and a warm welcome to those of you just joining us. Members of the Uganda Plastic Manufacturers and Recyclers Association are worried about what will become of the sector if the recently passed excise duty bill is assented to by the President. Now, this follows an October parliamentary passing of a 40% levy on each kilogram of plastics and plastic pellets, an impact they say could render plastic manufacturers redundant. The concern comes just a few days after President Yoweri Museveni encouraged the idea of plastic recycling while launching a similar factory in Matuga on Friday.
You have the brush, non-recyclable. You have oil, non-recyclable. You have all this non-recyclable. Whenever they make all this nice, it means they can't be easily recycled and produced into other products.
Seen displaying a number of plastic products is the Executive Director, Uganda Plastic Manufacturers and Recyclers Association, Moses Ategeka. He's concerned that plastic recyclers are finding it hard to reuse some of them for recycling purposes.
Is committed to green technology, proper mechanism of environmental protection.
This is not the only concern. The recent passing of the Excise Duty Amendment Bill into law could affect the activities of plastic recycling in the country.
We agree that no licenses for any plastic manufacturer who comes on this ground to produce without a recycling factory. If we put as a precondition to licensing any investor in plastic.
It's on that basis that they are appealing to the President to decline assenting to the bill until more consultations are done.
Recyclers be protected and exempted from this kind of tax excess duty because it protects them and it enables them to clean the environment deep and further.
The bill was earlier passed in March 2022 but returned to Parliament for reconsideration by President Yoweri Museveni. About 70,000 people are said to be employed or benefiting financially from plastics.
So as a company, what we call waste, somebody else is also taking it to use it. We are not the end users only. We have still more end users ahead of us. So the chain grows wide and wide and wide and wide.
Plastic manufacture and recycling is said to be one of the key tax contributors to the tax revenue. Proper management of plastic can save the environment.
Parliamentarians on the Forum for Food Security, Population and Development want a law that will ensure food security in the country. They say Uganda is not yet prepared for changes related to extreme weather, as we hear in this story.
12% of the total population in the country is chronically food insecure, especially in Karamoja, Teso and Acholi regions. In northern Uganda alone, more than 200 people died of hunger in the month of July this year, where a prolonged drought and rampant insecurity left more than 500,000 facing starvation. In a statement by the Uganda Parliamentarians Forum on Food Security, Population and Development, there is need for food security and nutrition policy and law that would be addressing the issues of food insecurity and harmonize interventions in ensuring food security in the country.
Secondly, we need a law. In 2009, there was a law which was drafted on food security and nutrition of this country. Unfortunately, it did not see its way on the floor of Parliament. As the Forum, we have decided to take on the law as private members' bill to make sure we have a law on food security, food safety, and food and nutrition in this country.
Because at the end of the day, we are talking about food security, we are talking about quality population, but we cannot have quality population without quality food, because the food in the camps, in those settlement camps, is quantitative. It is for survival, but it's also not sustainable.
They think embarking on the food security and nutrition campaign that involves sensitization of communities on aspects like managing the seasonal calendar, selection of best performing inputs, post-harvest handling, processing, market and storage will help. MPs also demand for continuous relief to areas with special needs like Karamoja and Kasese, besides popularizing the countrywide seed and input support to farmers.
Karamoja needs seeds. If the seeds are given early enough, like recently seeds have been given, but at the moment rains are not there. But if they are going to be late rain and they are planted, maybe both seeds can help.
Sure that it gives people plans for each people to have seedlings, seeds, and food food crops, because relief is short term, but what is the mid-term and longer term? And you're not condemning them because they have no quality seeds, they have no inputs, they have no guidance in the entire constituency. You don't have even an extension worker paid by the state. And that's the same situation elsewhere.
Income earning is likely below average for many rural households. Incomes and from agriculture and livestock-related labor activities in the first agriculture season will likely below average in many areas due to the below-average rainfall and poor cropping season. Shamim Naiga and Gloria Gutabinji, Parliament.
Leaders who care create a good learning environment.
Because a good school equals a better life.
Raising voices.
At Timex Nutrition Center, we advise you on the right foods to eat, exercise profile to adopt, and lifestyle strategies which are compatible to your blood group and genotype. This empowers your body to prevent and treat many diseases like diabetes, blood pressure, arthritis, ulcers, obesity, and many others. For more information, find us at our head office in Kampala on Nassa Road, Conrad Plaza, 2nd floor, or call 0758 819 952 or 0778 288 361. We also have other branches in Bara and Jinja.
Welcome back, and this is News Tonight here on UBC TV. Now, among the sectors which Uganda is proud of as we celebrate the journey of 60 is the information, communication and technology sector, ICT. In this interview, the current Minister for ICT and National Guidance, Dr. Chris Baryomosi, shares the story of the sector's transformation.
We all can agree that 60 years ago, and that is in 1962, the word ICT was not commonplace in Uganda.
Uganda attained independence. Technology was not very advanced. You recall those days, even transport, whether by road, by water, by air, even other forms of communication, were still not well developed. For instance, in the 60s up to the 80s, we only had Radio Uganda, which we call UBC today, but there was only one radio in this country.
In this interview, the Minister in charge of Information, Communication and National Guidance, Dr. Chris Baryomosi, recollects some sector memories.
So in terms of ICT, in terms of digital technologies, in terms of communication, a lot has been registered in the last 60 years. Actually, if you brought people who, God forbid, passed away in the 60s, if there was to be a miracle and they come back today and they see how Uganda is, probably they wouldn't recognize it. They wouldn't know that this is the Uganda we left, because a lot has changed.
According to Minister Dr. Chris Baryomosi, the ICT sector has greatly improved over the years and now acting as one of the economy's drive.
In the area of IT, we now speak of the fourth industrial revolution, with many cutting-edge technologies which are coming on board. And as a government and as a Ministry of ICT, we are now investing resources to see to it that Uganda runs fast and catches up with the rest of the world.
And for the country's communication field, a lot has also been attained.
The national broadcaster has also undergone a lot of positive transformation. And it began as black and white, analog, but with this digitization agenda, which is global, our own UBC has since transformed, and I'm sure the viewers who have been adherent clients of UBC have seen it grow, that now UBC has one of the best pictures compared even to the private TV providers. And the quality of broadcasting, the reach, how far it can reach. I think the national broadcaster, in the name of UBC, has also greatly transformed.
Besides facilitation of transformation of the national broadcaster, the communication trends have also been improved.
Say on agriculture, on health, while the others, with due respect, maybe focusing on business and probably making money to thrive in the market, UBC has remained one channel that focuses on educating a Ugandan, on liberating a Ugandan, and that's what makes it tick. The same with the radio. When you listen to the news hour, and how it covers the information from all around the country, because sometimes some media houses may want to focus on what they think makes news and is sensational and is from urban areas, but the UBC, the national broadcaster, as a deliberate policy, make sure that it picks information from all corners of the country.
Another sector which has also tapped into the ICT era is that of education.
We have built our own capacity as a country. That's why we have many universities which teach IT courses, which teach computer science, and now we have very many graduates who are coming out of universities, and we are now supporting them, and we want to support them more to see that they put their skills, their competencies which they have acquired in universities into practical interventions.
With the million steps taken, government is committing itself to make more investments in the ICT sector.
And as a government, we are going to invest more in technology, because technology is now the resource that facilitates transformation.
But then how did that generation survive amid this disgust of such technology?
So when we were growing up, post office was the in thing in terms of delivering messages, delivering parcels and items. But now, most of the services which were initially delivered by post office have been taken over courtesy of technology. While in those days, I would have to write a letter to send it to my people in the village. All this. We are now saying, instead of somebody traveling from Karamoja, from Chigezi, from West Nile, to come and pick a passport from Kampala, we are now transforming these postal offices into centers where you can make applications for all these services online.
It is now anticipated that if government accords maximum attention to the ICT sector, especially for the next 60 years ahead, millions of jobs, opportunities and revenue are expected as the end results. Robert Onyango, UBC News.
Did you know that a cashless, secure and convenient lifestyle is possible with Airtel Money Pay? Pay for your goods and services in the following simple steps. Dial *185*9#. Enter the merchant ID. Enter the amount. Enter payment reference, for example, school items. Please enter PIN to confirm. You will receive a confirmation message for a successful transaction. Airtel Money. Instant, secure, borderless.
Welcome back. Let's have a look now at the latest in business. Minister for East African Affairs, also First Deputy Prime Minister Rebecca Alitwala Kadaga, has pledged to improve on the international free continental trade area as the only way to reduce on the cost of doing business. While officially opening the 28th Uganda Manufacturers Association Trade Fair at Lugogo Showground, Kadaga said she is ready to apply extra energy to ease trade in the region for a better economy. Kadaga also recommended the implementation of the EAC common currency by 2024.
It is a matter of big concern, especially for the small traders. I went to the border at Mutukula and had spent a day with the ordinary people there. And this is one of their complaints. The rates of fluctuation from one border to another, the losses therein. So I just want to assure that the East African community has in program the issue of the common currency, which we expect should be in place by 2024. So we now have, of course, one of the difficulties we have been having is the barriers in the market, the common market. Our protocols, the customs union protocol, the common market protocol, there are several breaches, and they keep
consumers. This makes the Uganda International Trade Fair an important forum that boosts inter-Africa trade, particularly trade in value-added products, which is the main objective of African Free Continental Trade Area.
I work with Measure Steel. We welcome you to Lugogo Woman Showgrounds to come and see the exhibition. It is of high qualities of value. Come and see Ugandan products. This year we've brought, as Measure Steel, expanded metal. We've brought BRC and so many other products that when you come to our store and you see them, you are highly welcome. The products we are showing are Ugandan made and are of quite high quality.
By integration. So Tembo Steel is the company. I request to all our fellow brothers and sisters and Ugandans to come and see the process model, how Tembo Steel is making, using iron ore and making the final steel product. So we are not only showcasing the products, we are showcasing our entire process model, how we are using iron ore, how we make a sponge iron, and how can we make final products. So this is a unique thing which we are exhibiting in this year trade show.
Aga Khan Foundation, in collaboration with the European Union and Motive Creations, have launched a business recovery program dubbed the Cottage Industry Catapult Program. Now, the program is aimed to support businesses in the creative sector, as Dennis Sigoa tells us more.
Industry Catapult program is part of the COVID-19 response initiatives for Eastern Africa geared at reducing impact caused by the COVID-19 pandemic on businesses and strengthen the entrepreneurial capacity of the young people.
We are looking at companies, institutions. We're not looking at individuals. We are looking at companies. That is why we said that the bare minimum should be a trading license, that your company is here. You have a URSB, that this is my license and I pay my taxes. And then your company is registered in your account name, a bank account name that is in your company name. We want to build the company.
It intends to revamp the worst affected businesses to restore them back to profitability and by so doing create more employment opportunities vital in averting poverty among young creatives.
So some of the challenges that we faced along the way was access to income and to enable us scale, you know. You need inventory, you need to build a team, you need to pay the team. And us getting to know there's an opportunity for Aga Khan to step in and enable our businesses to scale, provide the funding that we need is a huge relief.
According to a recent report from UNESCO, COVID-19 pandemic led to a loss of over 10 million jobs in the creative sector worldwide in 2020, wiping off $750 billion off the value of the global cultural and creative industries. The community lead at Motive says the Cottage Industry Catapult program with a kitty of 190 million shillings is a great opportunity for businesses in the creative sector.
And we'll also be sharing a lot of the things that we'll be looking out for
especially as we go into the next couple of months where we'll be making available incubation services, as well as enabling and empowering young entrepreneurs who qualify for this program to be able to win up to 10 million Uganda shillings.
The program implemented by Motive seeks to train and provide access to raw materials for 200 MSMEs, give 100 businesses access to trained labor, and 50 micro, small and medium enterprises access to finance. Dennis Igoa and Isaiah Rock for UBC News.
Sports news now, and State Minister for Luweero Triangle, Alice Kabuyo, has given Ndeje University the nod as it waits to host the 2022 East Africa University Games this December. The Minister towards sports facilities that will be used for the Games. Here is our sports reporter, John Ban Sentamo.
Yes. So you are in this part of the and we all are waiting the river. And this is where we need the government. Sports are there, basketball, sports are there, swimming pool, the swimming pool is there.
So for this specific visit, you should tell us
what of the facility, and we are preparing to the same. To go into the nitty-gritty of the figures, this is what we are going to see in the meeting. When we go for the meeting.
East African University Games, so it cannot be a Ndeje University issue. It becomes a Ugandan issue now. Government has to come in and help them organize themselves so that the games are hosted, and Ndeje University is successful in hosting the university games. Prepared well.
What's your because it was her first time to visit us to see what we are doing both in academics and in sports. But in particular with the aspect of East African Games, he has come in to see how far we have gone. And she has noted that the funds released so far won't be enough, and she has promised to look for more. And indeed, we're organizing a dinner on the 27th.
Regarding accommodation, I can assure you we have enough facilities, simply because we are using the Ndeje University facilities. At the same time, we are using the Ndeje SS facilities.
It is coming to 5 minutes after 9 in the studios of UBC TV. We've finally come to the end of this bulletin. Thank you so much for having kept us company. My name is Rukidi Edward Kiijjanangoma, wishing you a blessed night. But do remember that we shall also be here tomorrow. But up next here on UBC TV is Super Soul Sisters. That will be followed later on at 10 by Behind the Headlines. From me and on behalf of the entire news crew, I wish you a blessed night.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.
The Ministry of Health informs the public that there are confirmed cases of Ebola in Uganda. We, however, urge the public not to panic as the situation is being managed. The Ministry of Health further reminds the public to be on the lookout for any persons who may show signs and symptoms of Ebola. These include high body temperature, abdominal pains, diarrhea, vomiting, bleeding from the body openings such as the nose, eyes, and mouth. Please inform the nearest health worker immediately if you see anyone with these signs and symptoms.